This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, guys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I am one of the hosts of this show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter at Michael5Ritter or on Instagram at MichaelRitter5, and also the host of the Football Function Podcast, which is available on all of your podcasting platforms and also available on Patreon. We actually had a familiar voice of the WWE Podcast, Kanye Twitty, make his Football Function debut, and that goes out to anybody else out there. If you're a football fan and you want to get on the show, just get at me. Obviously, I just mentioned my social media handles. You can get a hold of me there, and we can work something out if you're a football fan. Also, college football as well. We touch on that now, so all bases are being covered, at least for the most part. But joining me on today's episode, back to normal. It's been a few weeks, it seems like, since we've been in the saddle here. Normal to knock out an edition of the SmackDown Review, but my humble co-host, John Carrasco. You can find him on Twitter at BIGG_speaker. How you doing, John? It's been a while since you've been in funky time.
I am doing pretty good, man, and of course it is good to be back and everything like that. And like I said, it's not a good feeling whenever you miss a week or two and then you kind of try to jump back in here
and
just
just tough,
get
man.
the rhythm and stuff like that. Like today, I didn't bring a water, so I know that's a big thing. I'm already forgetting like the minor things that are going to help me throughout this show and everything like that. But I mean, like I said, it's good to be back. Vibes and everything like that. And of course, y'all got the thing going on with the football function, and it's freaking awesome. Like you were saying about the college and everything like that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's been a good, I guess you could say, week off. I enjoyed the softball tournament, like how you had addressed last week and everything like that. So I enjoyed it. Shout out to DJ Kuzma. He's always giving me my, I guess, my good hopes, because good ups, I guess you could say. And then, I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm just happy to be back, I guess you could say. Yeah. So
shout out to DJ Kuzma as well. Hopefully he is having a good time right now when we're recording this at his Halloween mingle, I believe it is. Having a good time. You love to see it. Shout out DJ Kuzmo. Also, shout out to Rocky T from Texas. He got at me last week trying to give me some tips on how I can watch SmackDown if, there's ever a cable dilemma, excuse me, which has happened several times since I've been doing this show. So, shout out to Rocky T for looking out for your boy. Definitely appreciate it. And also, shout out to Grace. She did a good job, a hell of a job on the Raw review with Matt. She provided that in-person experience from Charlotte, which we'll say, I did hear you say you're not a Panthers fan, but the Panthers are going down this weekend. They play my Atlanta Falcons, and I do expect a nice home win, excuse me, for the first place in the NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. But back to wrestling. Unless you got something?
I was gonna say another shout out. I mean, it's always cool to get the in-person perspective of the people that go to these events and stuff like that. So, like you said, shout out to Grace, and then I believe we had another Patreon that was in attendance at the SmackDown today. WWE Steen.
Yes, he was in the Patreon.
I saw that.
Or no, the Discord chat.
Yeah, the Discord chat. Yeah, so everything like that.
And he talked about the tapings that they're doing for next week.
Sign. I don't know if it's a male or female. Don't get this all messed up or anything like that. But I did see that you said that you're holding up the sign, and I was kind of looking for it. Paused a couple times to see if I could find it, but I didn't. But yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to the people that go in live in person. It's always good to hear that stuff.
And Halloween, obviously. Hopefully everybody's having a good holiday weekend here. But
yes, sir.
Monday, Halloween, that Monday Night Raw's in Dallas. We could have easily, made this happen a little bit more difficult for both of us for various reasons. Obviously, I went to Atlanta just a few weeks ago. So planning for that trip, I knew I wasn't going to be able to add a Monday Night Raw into the mix. I also believe they're going to OKC actually like next month or something like that. In November, they're in the area, but don't know if I've announced it on the show or not, but I've already told you. I sent you the screenshot as soon as I bought the tickets. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, January 28th, 2023. Alamo Dome, second time that the Royal Rumble has been here in the past 6 years. I went to the last one as well. The seats are a little bit better than they were last time. I remember that ramp was just extremely long. It was my first like TV event to go to. Like I'd been to so many live events up to that point, but that was my first like real event to go to, and that makes a big deal.
You need to make you some signs, man, because you're starting to get in a little rhythm of these things. So
Yeah.
put your name out there.
Yeah, definitely. Got to get a sign or two, at least, maybe a shirt. Just for the people that are sitting behind me, they see, some, at WWE Podcast or at Wrestling _ Audio, whatever. Definitely ways to do it. But, yeah, dude, just. But what makes those events so special is that things can happen. The titles can change hands. The wins actually matter. Storylines get pushed forward. Whereas at a live event, yeah, the fan interaction is always great. You sit front row or whatever, they actually will take pictures with you and, sign whatever it is that's sitting right there, which they don't do on Raw or SmackDown or whatever. But I'll take the unpredictability of what could happen at a card, knowing that it's legit and you're on TV, opposed to, your typical live event. Although I do appreciate, a really good live event. But since then, been to SmackDown twice, been to WrestleMania, which is insane, and then even more live events, but clearly I've been to TV tapings and TV shows since then, and this is still going to be a pretty special time, obviously, because it's the same arena. Last time Randy Orton won, don't know if he's going to be back. I doubt it, given some things I've heard about Randy Orton and his back injury. But either way, Triple H being at the helm, I know how important the Royal Rumble was back in like the Ruthless Aggression era, and it just seems that Triple H takes a few pages out of, the past eras with the way that he does things. So without a doubt, I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble and absolutely cannot wait to be in attendance. We'll talk about the signs and the shirts once we get a little bit, closer to that time, which will be here before you know it, obviously. But anyways, with all that being said, I do believe we can go ahead and get into the SmackDown review. This SmackDown aired on October 28, 2022 from St. Louis, Missouri. Speaking of Randy Orton, his hometown. I feel like the crowd did a pretty good job. The pops were there. Obviously, the main event with Bray Wyatt, and we'll get to that. But the Roman Reigns making his appearance, those two really stuck out as like, holy hell, man. The crowd really got into it in those moments. And just throughout, chanting Usi several times, which that segment was, brilliant. A lot of good stuff happened in the SmackDown, but I got to give a shout out to St. Louis because I feel like they really did their part.
Oh, yeah, man. This was definitely a good beginning of the show, I guess you could say, especially like whenever Roman Reigns, his music hit. I was just, gosh, these people really are so excited for this dude to be popping up. And it's good, for him to be popping up every once in a while because it brings like that excitement, like how we're seeing it before our eyes, I guess you could say.
Especially when you don't know exactly when it's coming.
Mm-hmm. So, that's cool. Of course, they give us like our little... what would you say? Spoilers, maybe they'll be coming next week and stuff like that. Of course, we were kind of
just to get you to tune in. They got to draw ratings,
right. But we're I was kind of expecting something to happen just because, like the little situation that happened with Jey Uso and Logan Paul last week, and that was definitely crazy, man. And I'll get to that here whenever we start breaking down the show and stuff like that. But man, I'm ready to just get past this crown jewel part, because I think there's just a bigger story that's going to unfold after a while.
Yeah, the crown jewel pay-per-view always feels like you don't take it quite as serious. Just, I don't know why. It's not one of the bigger ones. It's kind of like a video game pay-per-view. Legitimate stuff might happen, but still, it's just not one that I really have a lot of stake in. But I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. There's some pretty good matches on it. Omos and Braun Strowman, that one kind of catches my eye. Roman Reigns and Logan Paul, just seeing that. I know I'm not really, anticipating a surprising finish or anything, but something's got to happen, right. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out, amongst other things. But we'll go ahead and dive into SmackDown here. Feel free to jump in if I miss anything, if I might have, forgotten anything in the notes, because I am a little bit rusty in terms of my note-taking formula. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive in here. We started off with Solo and Sami Zayn versus the Brawling Brutes, which is Ridge Holland and Butch. Exactly. I want to call him Pete Dunne so bad, but Butch, I'm getting used to it. He'll be called that for at least the time being. But the whole bloodline's out there, at least everybody except Roman Reigns. We get both of the Usos at ringside. which leads to, as you would expect, confrontations. That kind of leaves the door open for the Brutes to steal the win, which is what they do. And then, we get Solo and Jimmy both kind of stand up for Sammy post-match whenever Jey Uso kind of gets in his face, because those confrontations outside the ring, which lead to the distraction, ultimately costing the Bloodline this match. We get some, push turns to shove and a little bit of animosity showing in the ring after that. But luckily, the other members of the Bloodline, Solo and Jimmy, kind of stand up and they let Jey know that, what he's doing is wrong, I guess. And Roman Reigns does show up as things begin to escalate in the ring, which, like I just mentioned the crowd lost their minds hearing Roman Reigns' music. He comes out to the ring. We get the typical, acknowledge me. It's almost, business as usual, because they kind of just do their pose despite just pushing each other 5 seconds earlier. And you could just tell Sami Zayn did a great job despite not having any lines early in this. He obviously gets the mic and kind of takes over, but before that, you could just see his facial expressions. Like, I don't know what it is. He looks like a cartoon character. He does such a great job telling the story of how he's feeling and kind of what his role is in that segment without even saying a word. It's great stuff. I wanted to touch on that. But this was actually pretty funny, this segment. He just says, let's address the elephant in the room, Roman Reigns that is, and says, what the hell's going on here or whatever. And then Jey pretty much just, I think at first, Sami Zayn tries to, shake his hand. He tries to, basically call it cools and basically try to squash it, whatever, try to be respectful. Jey ain't having it. He says, man, get your hand out of my face. I'm sick and tired of you thinking you can be part of our family. I'm sick and tired of you following us around every single week. You guys know how Jey Uso feels about this. And he basically just put it all out there in the middle of the ring. And he just basically says that Sami Zayn, that is, that the tribal chief doesn't need this type of stuff or something like that. Something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing here, of, that Roman Reigns doesn't need this type of, this energy or whatever. And for lack of a better word, Jey Uso basically says, I don't give a damn what Roman Reigns says. And you just see the look on Roman's face. That's brilliant as well. Just his look when he looked up. That's great stuff right there from Roman. Like, that's seriously why he's one of the best, just because obviously it's an easy thing to do. Just give a facial expression. But the way he did it, when he did it, it's just brilliant stuff. Everything in this segment was just chef's kiss. I loved it from start to finish. Literally, when you have this many people basically hitting on all cylinders, it's going to end up being a good finishing product. But, it kind of continues on here whenever Sami Zayn, again, tries to step in. He tries to say, hey, look, Jey didn't mean that. You didn't mean that, right? And Jey says, yeah, I didn't mean it. Kind of just agrees with him a little bit. And then that's whenever Sami Zayn basically points Jey's behavior and assesses it to the fact that he hasn't been feeling very oozy lately. Crowd loves it. They go on and start chanting it. Roman Reigns pops. They all break. Every single person in the ring, you see their face break. And that's the beauty of this, is like they're breaking left and right. Like, still brilliant segment. I'll give it an A, even though I never give letter grades or anything like that. But if I did, this one would definitely, receive an A. And they still, they broke, and that's the thing, is the Sami Zayn legitimately, he's almost not to the same extent, don't get me wrong, but whenever Becky Lynch was on her way to WrestleMania and inevitably beat Ronda Rousey and Charlotte, I believe it was a triple threat match, but she became the two-time champ. During that build-up, she was untouchable. Everything she did, she literally got her nose broken by Nia Jax accidentally, and it looked badass. It added to her character. It was basically one of those things, there's certain times in people's career where they're so hot, they have so much momentum that everything works in their favor. Even something that should, ruin it, like Becky Lynch, getting her nose broken unexpectedly, ends up adding to it. She has blood all over her face, and now whenever they're showing Becky Lynch video packages, they'll always pull back to that one, and you'll see. If I were to pull it up right now and show you, you know exactly what I was talking about.
Gotcha.
But that's kind of where I guess what category I throw Sami Zayn in right now. Obviously, like I said, not to that extent, but no matter what he does, anything he touches, it turns to gold. And I just feel like right now he cannot miss, and I love what we're doing here. Roman Reigns does threaten Jey to basically say, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to do something you're not going to like. I'm going to remove this honorary Oos from Sami Zayn's shirt, and I'm going to just make him a full-time Oos. Maybe even change his name to Sammy Uso, excuse me, and the look on his face right there, it was like Christmas morning. Like he just opened up the gift of his life. What'd you think about this segment? Did it hit it out of the park for you like it did for me?
This was a freaking home run for sure. Yeah, this, man, emotional roller coaster, I guess you could say, because, investing in this, you kind of get that feel for it and everything like that. And you get that emotion from the very beginning. They're arguing in the ring, Roman's music hits, and oh, dang, now somebody's in trouble. And we already know who's in trouble, So we're already looking forward to that. And then, whenever Jey Uso and Sammy, they just go back and forth. You can, like you said, you can see the facial expression in Sammy going from like high intense, to a sad. He definitely got his feelings hurt, it looked like. And then, I don't know, man, it just turned to a funny part, So it was definitely a lot of up and down, a lot to take in. I can't say that any person in this did a bad part. The only thing, Solo, he was off to the side. I mean, maybe he was just cracking up too much or something like that. But
Jamie couldn't hold it together. I was
about to say, yeah, especially whenever he was like leaning on the ropes back there. I was just like, oh yeah, they're all just feeling all this. So I mean, it was good to see. Like I said, just a lot of up and down. And I was totally invested in it.
It was making me laugh though when Jay was like, "I hate your hair. I hate your face," and Sammy just looking at him, just like brokenhearted.
I was like, bro, you're just taking this like nothing, And like you said, just sad. I was just like, oh.
And still defend him like immediately after that. Great stuff. I love to see this. But up next, we get New Day versus Maximum Male Models, which is Massey and Mansoor. New Day gets the win with a Midnight Owl. What were your thoughts on this one? It wasn't very long. This was clearly a little bit of filler to get us from point A to point B throughout, some of the main storylines in the show.
Well, this one, I mean, it wasn't too much for me. I mean, it was just like an extra match, I guess you could say. The only thing that's really starting to point out to me is Mansoor, sorry about that, like the same shirt that he's wearing, like that little see-through type thing. I don't know, man. And then like whenever he tried to like hit one of those poses after like he did like a move, and
yeah,
like almost,
I know which one you're talking about.
Like tripped, I guess you could say. It's just like it's starting to become actually funny for me, like just to see it all like transition into.
It's
the
growing
ring and
on
stuff.
you.
Like I wouldn't even say growing. It's just like I have to get something out of this, Like I can't just be like, oh man, this is just like crap all the way around.
Lunchable,
and stuff like that. I guess you could say, yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to find like the good of it, like
exactly, yeah.
What they're trying to like get out of this, because it doesn't seem like they have anything just like going for them, like because they were going from Hit Row, now they're over here with New Day and stuff like that. So it doesn't seem like they just have like something that we can get behind, I guess you could say.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's just something. Okay, let's see what we can get out of it.
Well, they do take a loss here. We'll see if they can kind of, get back on track, if they were on track.
But I did want to kind of point out, I don't know if you've seen like at the beginning where Xavier Woods, he was saying like they were going to go show the Usos why they were like the longest title reign. See,
I saw that little video package or that promo as they were walking out to the ring, but Matt said it 100 times. I've watched 100 of these things. I don't know if I'm fast forwarding somebody's entrance. 9 times out of 10, if I see one of those pop up, I'm not going to stop the fast forward. I'm going to keep going. Yeah.
It was just something that I kind of took. Like, I mean, New Day, they're at 483. Usos, they're at 467. So they're
going to get that.
About 16 days,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, something has to happen from what Xavier Woods said in that little thing. Like, I'm thinking, okay, that's the little nugget that we're going to be expecting for, something along between these 16 days, I guess you could say. So that's what I'm looking forward to out of this.
That's a good little nugget to pull from that, I will say. We had another thing happen backstage here, a little bit of like a setup, basically just to set up a match for next week, which was taped tonight. As we found out, you gave him a shout out on the show, is that Liv Morgan attacks Sonya Deville backstage, sets up a no DQ match for them next week on SmackDown. So I'll definitely tune into that and see what's up. Man, that just... It's so weird, man, the behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, I've been to a SmackDown. I've covered a SmackDown that I went to with Matt, who watched it on TV.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. It's just weird that match is going to be featured next week on SmackDown, but it didn't happen next week on SmackDown. But the people who are going to be there, like, say I went to SmackDown next week and me and Matt did a review, that match would clearly be on SmackDown, but not while I'm there in the arena. It's not happening,
I was going to ask, do you think that had something to do with like the Saudi Arabia stuff? Them having to be traveling.
100% correct. That is the reason
That's what
why.
I was kind of thinking right away whenever they had posted that. I was like, okay, yeah, they're definitely doing this.
So I wouldn't be at SmackDown next week because there's not going to be a SmackDown next week.
That's
Okay.
what I was kind of thinking.
Hey, that's what we do here, all right? If we need to get a side podcast going where we just solve mysteries,
Hey,
I feel like we are.
I feel like I miss a little bit, but other than that, I think I'm pretty in tune with what's going on.
Office ladies. I know you're not a fan of that, but
Hey man, I like The Office stuff.
you like The Office, but the podcast Office Ladies, which is a whole nother animal. I'm saying give it a damn shot. All right, if you're an Office fan.
I don't want to get turned off to Pam like how you did.
Yeah, Jenna Fisher, not a huge fan of her. I will say, and like if I were to rank the Office characters, just a little side note here, Pam would be very low on my list. Like she really would be. You guys might be a little bit surprised with some of the names that would be high on my list, but I will say Pam, she's in the Toby tier. I'll just say that. All right, yeah.
Kick him to the dust.
All right. But anyways, we can go ahead and get a little bit back on track. But anyways, yeah, Office Ladies. They the whole reason why I even said that. The whole reason why I even mentioned that was because they mention all the time that they want to have like a Moms Who Google podcast, like parentheses, or like Mom Detectives, pretty much. Because like what the Office Ladies podcast is they cover every single episode of The Office. You know that, but the listeners, just informing them. They cover every single episode in order once a week. So if you're an Office fan and you aren't listening to that show, go binge it, catch up like I did, get right on track. Hell of an experience. Really, really informs you. But like I said, let me wrap this up. Put a bow on this. They say that they want to have a podcast called like Mom Detectives or something like that, and they said every single episode is going to end with, and we may never know. So they're never going to solve the case. Like, they're never going to actually do it. But, I mean, it's basically just a little joke. But pretty much just saying that's why they can't do it is because they know they'll never solve the case.
Right.
But
yeah, we're definitely some detectives over here, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
For sure. We'll crack those cases. But let's see. We get a video package. I don't know if he's backstage or what. Definitely some pre-recorded stuff. Braun Strowman addresses Omos. He pretty much just says there's no monster too big for him. I mean, a little video package of him pushing over semis and limos and ambulances and this, that, and the other. He can do everything except have a successful championship reign. So, yeah, do that, bud, and then maybe you'll impress me, right? How about that? But anyways, I am looking forward to the Omos versus Braun Strowman match. That's one thing. Aish was watching it with me. She hasn't watched wrestling probably in like a month, maybe a little bit more, and this was a wild one for her to tune in. And because, I mean, had no idea who Hit Row was. She had no idea who Legado del Fantasma was. She had no idea who Bray Wyatt was at the very end. Like, I mean, she knows who The Fiend is. She's seen his face, but she couldn't put two and two together in that moment. So it was like, she was like, Jesus, man, I missed like a month, and it's like it's like I just started again. Like, I pretty much have to start from scratch, and there is some truth to that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Strowman versus Omos.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be like a high one on my book. But the only thing that I'm just going to go back to the Liv and Sony thing.
Go ahead.
I wanted Liv to do that, flip the switch thing, but now, I think it's just going a little bit too much overboard for me. Like, it's hard to think that it's all believable that Liv is breaking the hold of two men, I guess you could say, to get to Sonya and the backstage stuff. So it's getting kind of crazy to me, but I'm still riding for her. No, she fell off your book and everything like that. I heard that last week. Yep. And I should probably super kick you for that. But, yeah, I'm still riding with Liv, man. She still got me on the hook just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, she got you on the hook. She's on Chucky's knife.
Oh, my gosh.
All
that.
Was freaking... That was wild. Shout out to Liv for, being on Chucky. I will say, though, Chucky, just the season, the series on Sci-Fi, just compared to the movies, now I know not everybody has the same interest. It's all very subjective, but just this series, man, what they're doing with it, it's just, I mean, I'll watch every single episode. I thought the first season was pretty good, but what they're doing with the Chucky legacy is essentially, just setting it gently on the floor, unzipping their pants, and taking a big fat piss on it. That's pretty much what they're doing, in my personal opinion. Like I said, I'm going to keep watching it. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and let it play out, but in my personal opinion, they could have done without the series. But, yeah, that's a story for another day. But let's get back to wrestling. We're getting off the rails a little bit here on this episode. It's all good, though. Ronda Rousey open challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. A very familiar face accepts, though. I don't know. I'm not sure she's familiar to you. I'm pretty sure I've shown you a picture of her in the past, and you just didn't know it was her.
You probably have.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a whole unfamiliar face to me right
Emma,
now.
she is a former NXT slash, I guess,
see that.
main roster women's wrestler, but she didn't last a whole lot long time. I don't know. I definitely butchered that. She didn't last a long time on the main roster. Let's just say that. And she's back now. She's actually engaged to Madcap Moss, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's probably where I remember the face in a way.
Yeah, because I showed you Madcap maybe or something. I don't know.
Well, I follow Madcap on
you do?
Twitter, and he always posts like.
That's his girl. That's the one that he's with. That's
so
her.
I guess that's where the face kind of.
Yeah, so put it two together. That's what's funny. Shayna Baszler said, something about the new girl, like when she was talking to Ronda a little bit later. We'll get to that here in just a second. But I was like, new girl, like, okay, shut the hell up, Shayna. Okay, she's probably been on the main roster longer than you. Definitely not longer than Shayna in totality. But, I mean, Shayna's run on the main roster hasn't necessarily been anything to brag about. So take that for what it's worth. But Emma does accept this open challenge, puts on a pretty good fight, but she does end up tapping out to Ronda Rousey after getting the Piper's Pit, followed by the armbar. She puts on a fight. They try to showcase that, hey, she's not just some, I guess, jobber, for lack of a better word. She's not just going to get squashed every week. She can actually put up a fight against Ronda Rousey, which by default means she could put up a fight against anybody in the women's division. So Emma comes back. Despite losing, she gets a little bit of momentum behind her, in my opinion.
Well, on this one, man, I can't really say that I was like too interested in it. It was just kind of weird. I mean, I understand like the debut coming back and everything like that to kind of get the crowd behind her and stuff like that. But the whole Ronda open challenge, she's over here saying like, she'll fight anybody or wrestle anybody, stuff like that. But then again, you take in new talent. I'm not saying like she's like fresh out the block type stuff, but she did seem like she was kind of, slow in the ring, wasn't up to par, I guess you could say. And I just feel like this match didn't really help Ronda as a champion, the getting the dub and everything like that. But for what, I guess you could say, what's the come of this? Like, are you going to have something like go further along with Emma, I guess you could say, or what's going on with that? Because there wasn't really much because it bounced to
The backstage segment?
Yeah, with Natalia already. Yeah. She was trying to, if I would have jumped in or if I would have took that open challenge, I'd be the women's champion right now. I was just kind of like, man, I mean, I don't get it, they're just going back to an opponent that she already had,
Yeah, I think they could pull back to this, like down the line. Like pretty much the only reason they put her against Ronda was just to make her quote unquote debut a juicy one. Yeah, and make it draw ratings.
I understand that. Yeah, I mean just to like get the crowd behind her and stuff like that. But just like being, I guess, like me as a viewer and her being new to me, I guess you could say, it just didn't feel like it was a match that was credible.
For sure.
I mean, maybe on her end, help her, but on the champion side, not to me.
Yeah, and like I said, they could pull back to this months down the line or whatever. Let Emma beat, let's see, Carmella and maybe Sonya Deville and
maybe
Aaliyah or something like that. Some mid-carders and eventually maybe run into Ronda Rousey again and say, hey, remember my debut? I took you to the limit and all that good stuff. So we'll see kind of what they do with that. But Ronda Rousey obviously gets the win.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do like that they did kind of go back to that, because I don't know how long ago it was, but whenever Ronda approached Shayna and said, or like, who are you type stuff. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and then
used to be a killer.
Now for it to be like happening, getting her or Natalia in that chokehold.
That was hilarious.
That. I was like, okay, I mean, maybe they have something cooking on that side, so I'm cool with that.
That was hilarious because they were just talking. I saw what you did to the new girl, and then Natty comes in out of nowhere. Hey, blah 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 blah.
And then just that little creep.
Shayna didn't say a word. She's like, shut the. She's like puts her in the headlock, and then that's just it. No words.
I was just like, yeah, that was pretty good to me. So I was like, okay, I'm glad that they kind of touched base on that again.
Yeah, that was great stuff. But it just tells you, man, that a heel tandem, just with Ronda Rousey as champion, just having somebody like Shayna Baszler by her side, just right there is like, hey, I'm not her lackey. We're just friends, and I'll take care of her light work, you know?
So that's an enforcer right there.
Yeah.
On the women's side, I guess you could say.
Like, you want a little bit of credibility. That's it right there. Because you can say what you want about both of them respectively and individually, but you put them together, and that'd be a hell of a women's tag team, even though there's really not a women's tag team division. But they could probably make some noise in the men's tag team division, honestly. But
the way Rhea's beating up on men, yeah, they definitely probably could.
Yeah, Rhea. I was actually supposed to be on the WTFW podcast, and I had a trash list put together, and Rhea Ripley, her name was definitely on there.
I want to hear that real quick. Well, just on her.
Just on her?
Yeah, what's the trash?
I just don't get what they're like. Like, I don't know. It mainly pertains to the Judgment Day. Like, I guess when it looks at Rhea Ripley, guilty by association. But she's the one every week that I feel like is just kind of forcing it down your throat like that, just like that cringe, like everything she does, even if it's just a single move, she just like kind of looks to the crowd like she just, just spit in their mom's face or something like that. Like she just really did something. I'm like, dude, you just like pulled Rey Mysterio's leg out from underneath him. Like, you don't give a crap about that, So that, the whole Dominic whispering in his ear, the fact that they're trying to force us to care about that, when I'm just kind of like, I'm over Judgment Day. I really am. I don't get their motive. Like, I want someone to explain to me what their motive is. Like, seriously. I don't understand him. Dominic, obviously, I'm this generation's Eddie Guerrero. I'm glad I didn't watch Raw, because if I would have saw that, definitely would have, I might even send a voicemail into the mailbag, honestly, just because that was probably some heat of the moment stuff. But yeah, just not good. Not good. Don't.
Okay.
Because Dominic, I feel like I don't really want to be disrespectful to any jobbers from the Ruthless Aggression era, but Dominic trying to say that he's that generation's Eddie Guerrero, or he's this generation's Eddie Guerrero, like he's this generation's. I'm trying to think. Like, what's one of the dudes in the Spirit Squad? You're not familiar with the Spirit Squad, but it's a group of male cheerleaders, which Dolph Ziggler came from.
Really?
Yes. You need to see this. The Spirit Squad. You do, man. A group of 5 people. They just there was Nick and Kenny and several others. And they were a heel tag team. General manager would have them come out and, attack, gang up on one of the baby faces. Happened several times. Pretty sure I saw Goldberg literally split them in half with some spears, man. Some good stuff back in, man. Ruthless Aggression. I can't tell you enough about that, but yeah, I don't really know, man. Dominic just doesn't do it for me. People, they're quick to say, hey, Dominic, he has no character depth. His in-ring, he's good. I'm like, whoa, are we sure? Have you seen him in the ring? What is the bar that low for you? Just because he's Rey Mysterio's son, don't mean you have to say he's good. That should make it worse. The fact that he has those genetics was literally, he could have, I don't even know how to explain it, but whenever he was a kid, he could have easily pursued wrestling at a very, very young age, which he probably did. And if he did, that's even worse because he's so raw and so green still. I'm just like, dude, he should very clearly be in NXT. And that's the one thing I will say is camera work can fool you. Camera angles on TV. I've watched Dominic front row here in Amarillo whenever we were watching this. The dude's not that great. He wasn't that great in June, at least. Who knows if he's gotten, a whole lot better. But that's just my personal opinion. Dominic Mysterio, the bar is very, very low, but he's still having trouble, crossing it. And he has to be in this group where pretty much he does nothing. He's just like some hypnotized little kid or something like that. But anyways, yeah, you asked for it. Rhea Ripley, she's just, I guess she's the one that annoys me the most out of that group. And that says a lot because Dominic's standing right there next to her.
I can see that, man. Just because, the whole, being untouchable on my end, I guess you could say. I'm definitely not, on the side that you are. I'm okay with it and everything like that. The other part, maybe, yeah, how you're saying, what's their motive? I guess you could say maybe get behind that. But other than that, as a whole, man, okay. But the Rhea thing, not too much on my end.
See, it's just I don't watch Raw enough. That's one thing. I don't watch it enough to, I guess, see the not annoying sides of Rhea. From the clips I see and what I see every, like, the highlights, that's one thing. Like, Judgment Day had my attention. Like, when Edge was there, I was like, okay, we got something here. But since then, I guess I just don't see the direction of where they're going. And maybe if I did, it would make a little bit more sense to me. But I kind of just see people come out every single week that, like, I don't know, like, they try to get people to join their group, or, like, and if they say no, they jump them, something like that. I don't know, but just not necessarily for me, but who knows? It could change over time. Let's see here. 6-man tag match, Legado del Fantasma versus Hit Row and a mystery partner. Ends up being Shinsuke Nakamura. And the way that Shinsuke, what he did to this team and in this, I guess, matchup is like what Kawhi Leonard did to the Raptors, pretty much. Like, you add the best player of, like, both teams involved, and he definitely is a difference maker. Obviously, like, he was head and shoulders better than everybody in that ring, and that says something because I am a fan of what Santos Escobar does. He had something to say about Rey Mysterio, saying he's this generation's Eddie Guerrero. On Twitter, he was kind of just like, whoa, like, shut the hell up, pretty much, because Santos can go in the ring. I'm definitely a big fan of him, but what is it? Top Dollar, he goes to the top rope. He does like a downtown 3. It's like similar to like the Undertaker's old school where he goes on the top rope. I like that move. A nice little name. Shinsuke Nakamura capitalizes off of that and hits the Kinshasa, ends up getting the win for this team. B-Fab goes out there, not in heels. The commentary team commented on that. They pointed it out and pretty much just said that means she means business. And she was ready to fight with Zelina Vega, who clearly ran away and avoided her for the majority of the match. But what do you think about this one?
Well, like you said, Shinsuke being a part of this definitely made this more interesting to me. You know, like right as soon as his music hit, like I was like, okay, like let's get this happen or make this happen, I guess you could say. But at the I can't even talk right now. At the very beginning, I did not expect Shinsuke to be that guest appearance, I guess you could say. I was thinking like more along the lines of maybe like Swerve being brought back over or something like that.
That'd be cool.
I thought that was going to be like, okay, I mean, maybe that can give them some better traction and stuff like that, especially because he was a tag team champ with Keith Lee. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's who I was thinking was going to be brought back. But Shinsuke, like you said, brought this whole group to life, you know. Like, I just felt like, you know, the whole match was better and everything like that. And I really couldn't complain about it. I don't like the double slam that Top Dollar does, man. I hate he just grabs one and the other one just kind of just like throws his body to the side.
Jumps up there, yeah.
And just, you know, just falls into position. That's the only thing that like was negative about this. That downtown 3, I thought that was pretty cool, like you were saying. But yeah, man, just the whole Shinsuke, him being brought back. I do miss Rick Boogs. I saw somebody else.
Dude, it's funny that you mentioned him. I wanted to give him a shout out. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody else had mentioned that in the Discord. I believe it was Kobe Cheese.
Detroit Kyle.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, whenever he said that, I was kind of like, dang, I do kind of miss that dude playing that guitar, you know. Oh, dang, another thing, Pat McAfee, you know, jumping up on the dang.
He's coming back.
Yes, man.
Did you hear that till January?
McAfee's
right coming back, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be good. It is hard to get behind
Wade Barrett
just because his accent, I guess you could say. But, I mean, it does seem like he does add, like, a little bit of, like, wording to the mic and everything like that. So it's cool, but it's hard to stay behind him just because of the accent. But other than that, man, I thought this match was definitely a little bit better than the previous ones that Hit Row has put on.
Up next, we have Karrion Kross versus Madcap Moss. Kross versus Moss, a little bit of a grudge match here. At least it looked like it. Whenever Madcap came out, it looked like he wanted to kick his ass. But Karrion Kross actually wins this one, gets some help from Scarlett, and then puts Madcap in a cross jacket after the match as like a way to send a message to Drew. He picks up the microphone, cuts a whole ass promo with Current, like, while choking out Madcap, just sitting there, just holding him, just cutting a promo that's like 8 lines. I'm like, dude, like, are you trying to kill him or what? And then afterwards, obviously, squeezes a little bit harder. But Karrion Kross gets the win to lead to their steel cage match at Crown Jewel up against Drew McIntyre. I mean, so Drew won the strap match, right? That they had at Extreme Rules? Pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah, Drew won that. All right. So is there a legitimate shot that Karrion Kross walks away with this win?
I don't know, man, because I mean, what had me thrown off last week was like that car wreck and everything like that, and I mean, I really don't know what to really think about this.
I forgot about that.
It's just like so much stuff is like going on behind stage or back scenes, I guess you could say, rather than in ring. So you can't really like. Well, I feel like I can't really get like too much traction on it, get behind it too much, just because I don't really know what's going on. But I mean, I understand there's a feud. Of course, these guys seem like they really want to like pound each other down and stuff like that. But I would like to see Drew pull that one off again. If
I'm rooting for Drew for sure.
yeah.
So definitely who I would love to see get the win. But let's see here. Let's go ahead and move on.
I was gonna say, I know you missed the backstage or whenever you're fast forwarding and stuff like that, but that little talk between Roman and Paul Heyman backstage.
Jey Uso and Paul Heyman?
No.
Oh, yeah, whenever they were watching Logan Paul train and box. Okay, yeah, I did see that.
The only thing, I'm just gonna touch on it a little bit. The only thing that's getting on my nerves about is like they're trying to like just push that one punch, man. I understand, like, yeah, in a boxing world, that's a big, or just any type of fighting, like fist fighting, boxing. Yeah, anybody can get that one punch, but I think it has kind of like transitioned to the wrestling world. Like, you're not just gonna go in there and just like really get one punch like how Jey Uso did last week. That was just a distraction.
And it sucks because Jay was putting it over so
That's what
much.
I was saying.
Like he was like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, whenever him and Paul were talking, he's like, I went night, seeing cheap, all that. Like, like, well, now you're really boosting his damn ego.
I know, dude. And I was just like,
shut the hell up.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's the only thing that's kind of like irking me about this thing. I mean, like I said, I understand. Like, yeah, you get you got that one chance to like land that punch, but come on, man. I mean, you can't just keep pushing that. This kind of sound like the same old Ronda Rousey type thing, and like every little event that this dude comes and does, boxing, wrestling. But yeah, just wanted a little rant on that, just because. Let's get this one punch stuff out the way and do this 1, 2, 3 and get out the way.
Especially for somebody like Logan. Like, let's be honest. He doesn't have that, like, I mean, yeah, his punches are probably better than the average man, like, in terms of, like, knocking you out. But, like, he's not like the Big Show, where, like, you can actually, like, market that one punch. It's like, holy hell, like, the Big Show giving you one knockout punch, his fist is bigger than your head. That's why you can market it. With Logan Paul, it's like, he's a regular-sized dude, like, okay, if he puts it, he puts it right on the chin, reach you, in the perfect spot, yeah. He might drop, but it's like you said, anybody can do that. So it's kind of just like, I mean, I guess every squirrel finds his nut, and I don't know if that's an appropriate analogy or whatever to use there, but pretty much.
We can use whatever we want to say for Logan Paul, because, like I said, let's just get him out the way and just scoot on over to the next one.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it.
Whoever it is, whoever's in charge over there signing the checks in Saudi Arabia must be like a huge YouTube fan or something. He's like, I want to see Logan Paul in the main event against Roman Reigns. Just pulled that one out of his ass, and now all of a sudden, like, it's actually an actual thing. But definitely a funny one.
I was gonna also add a little thing in. I don't know if you've seen the LA Knight and
hell yeah,
Ricochet.
he says it's the God's gift to SmackDown, and Ricochet. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Ricochet kind of.
He's freaking awesome though, man.
LA,
yes,
LA Knight, yeah, great.
He's freaking awesome.
Like, there's two sides to that coin. The other side is Ricochet on the mic skills. Just whenever he walked away and he said, "Yeah," and someone's gonna, whatever. Like, just that was cringe. I don't know exactly what he said because clearly the show ended like an hour ago. So we're like a little more than an hour ago, but still, we haven't had a chance to rewatch it or anything like that, but I don't remember exactly what it is. But if you just watch that segment whenever LA Knight leaves, what Ricochet says, it's just like, maybe it's just because comparison, we just saw LA Knight, who is like, he's nowhere near MJF on the mic. That's not what I'm saying. But he's in the ballpark, That's what I'm saying. Like,
he's pretty nice.
He's great, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's really good. Now, MJF, he's one of the best in the industry right now. So maybe that was just like an unfair comparison or an unfair name to drop. But either way, LA Knight, like, against Ricochet and a lot of other people in WWE, head and shoulders better than. And I felt like that was really on display there. And Ricochet really didn't do himself any favors by throwing out those little words as he was walking away. Probably didn't even hear him.
Mm-hmm. That was funny though, man. I want to say that he kind of said, or Ricochet said to LA Knight about his head getting too big. that somebody's bound to hit him or hit his head or hit him in the head or something like that. So I kind of know what you're talking about. But yeah, he definitely got the lower hand of that.
Yeah.
Talk right there.
You know what's going to be even more embarrassing? Whenever he loses to LA Knight and Samantha has to say, "And your winner, LA Knight."
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I didn't see her tonight. That was
You didn't? Was somebody else out there?
no. She was there, but
Yeah, I thought I heard her
just didn't
voice,
see-
yeah.
I just didn't see her. You know, like sometimes whenever somebody gets thrown over the barricade, and you'll see her over there in the little timekeeper's area, whatever.
Timekeeper.
Yep.
Well, let's see. Backstage, Imperium attacks Rey Mysterio when he's talking about being excited to get an opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship. They attack him, beat the holy piss out of him, and likely going to be a little bit wounded.
I'm about to say that chop looked like it was.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio is... he could take it all. I mean, that's one thing I was going to say is, like, I watched that, that Rey Mysterio 30 for 30 or whatever it is, or biography, WWE biography on A&E. They highlighted his left knee and, like, how many surgeries he's had on it. And when I watch him in the ring or just in general, I can't stop thinking about it. Like, it's all I think about. Like, when I see how, like, gingerly he kind of runs on it, I'm just like, man, if he, like, he's, like, circling, like, he runs circles around people that are 20 years younger than him with good knees. That just tells you, like, he is truly a one of one. He's like, he's a glitch. Like, he's not real. That's essentially what it is. Like, it's as if Tom Brady could play quarterback in the NFL for as long as he possibly wanted to and not ever get any worse at it. Father Time does not beat Rey Mysterio. He's already had so many different surgeries and he's still going,
Yeah.
The only thing that might be able to beat Rey Mysterio is the Judgment Day, which is why I hate him. I'm just kidding. I'm not a huge Rey Mysterio fan, even though, like, I want to back that up. The way that came out made it seem like I'm, like, anti-Rey Mysterio. What I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not like I never had a Rey Mysterio poster on my wall, Like, he's not up here hanging out with all these other people that we got, There's a lot of other wrestlers up here that I like, just name a few. He's a huge NWO fan. Goldberg, obviously. Sting. Like, Sting, that's my guy right there, all right? Whenever it comes down to, and Sting right there hanging out. You can agree.
Yes,
Sting is top tier for both of us, just being, I guess, from the WCW era. But either way, Rey Mysterio, legend, without a doubt. Love the dude. Love what he's bringing to the industry as a whole and WWE. I don't want to see him go out. Like, when we see so many legends like Chris Jericho going out with AEW and Christian, he's going out with AEW, just when I say go out, like in their career, like his career is going out. And it's kind of like, just going out on top, I guess, is a way that people phrase it. He wants to, be able to write his own ending. He doesn't want to be like whatever WWE wants him to be. He wants to be Christian Cage and actually, be like a legitimate badass. I don't think WWE would have ever booked him as a legitimate badass anymore. And I don't even know how he's doing in AEW right now, but I know that he had another run there amongst others. And, I just always feel like people, if you're like in the WWE Hall of Fame, like if you have that kind of career in WWE, it just makes too much sense to end it there. And I'm truly happy that Rey Mysterio did that.
And what's crazy, man? Like, I know I told you that I never wanted to see Rey Mysterio without a mask. And I want to say probably about a week ago, I finally saw it, man. And I was just kind of crushed.
Like the 90s version of Rey Mysterio?
Yeah, whenever he was like, well, no mask at all. Like, kind of like looked like a hip-hop kind of guy.
Yeah, he had a whole new character.
Yeah,
it was different.
It was crazy seeing
My
that,
sister
man.
had a huge crush on him in that era.
I did not. I hate myself right now for seeing that, just because I told you I never wanted to see him.
You can't unsee it.
I can't now. Yeah, I can see his face through the mask now, and that's kind of like a bummer on my end. Like, but other than that, man, yeah, it was crazy to see. Like,
even worse,
his whole other gimmick.
I've seen a recent one, man. That's even worse. Like, cause then it's like, damn, like I could really see it, and that's.
Yeah,
I mean,
that maybe that's the one I don't want to see.
You don't, yeah, because that Rey Mysterio, old school, like he had
That
hair,
one was funny,
like he's
man.
bald
It was
now,
pretty cool, yeah.
like Stone Cold bald. So, anyways, let's see. Final thing that happened here. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know. Like, yes, Bray Wyatt came out. Love his theme song. Don't really know a whole lot what he said, to be honest. Like, I was trying to keep up with it. The Uncle Howdy Like, that had me, like, I was speechless just watching that because I didn't watch last week. That's the thing. I didn't get a chance to actually watch SmackDown. So getting a chance to see all that, tonight, I was like, man, like, if you're not watching, like, multiple weeks in a row, you are, like, left in the dust. 1 week and you're like, what the hell did I miss? So I'm curious, dude, like, what the hell, like, what's going on?
Well, I mean,
That's clearly a mask, that Howdy dude.
Whenever I saw this mask, man, I don't know if I was just like overanalyzing this or whatever, but it sounds like Bray Wyatt behind that mask. Like, if you kind of just like, because I was able to pause on this one, go back and rewind a little bit because it was on FS1. Sucks, but yeah, on Sling and everything like that. Had the DVR, so I was ready to record and everything with this one, but. Yeah, I was able to rewind, so I kind of, went back over that 8 minutes of the whole segment, I guess you could say.
That final main event segment?
Yeah, and I was just like, just trying to like pick little things out. Like I said, maybe I was overanalyzing and stuff like that, but it looks like Bray Wyatt under that mask,
It is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, and then like how you're saying, you don't know what he was saying at the while he was in the ring. Basically, he was just like kind of saying that he's being like just the raw version of himself. He wants people to know or kind of see what the unfiltered version of him, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of seems like he has like this little like personality switch like that's happening like right before our eyes, because like whenever he comes out, he's like, it looks like he's like crying whenever he's holding that lantern up and stuff like that, and then like he blows it out and like it's like he switches to, I wouldn't even say an emotional person, but he turns into somebody that's trying to give us something, like a feeling, I guess you could say. And I think I just don't want the six people that he's trying to bring out to be 6 different personalities now, because dude, like he's putting, like you said, there's so much stuff that if you miss, you're gonna like miss, I guess, a good amount with what he's putting in, because you're only getting probably about a good like 10 minutes of him on TV time, so you got to kind of like take what you're getting and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I was just rewinding, trying to pick up, but that's what I kind of think, that it's just gonna be like just 6 different personalities of Bray Wyatt, but I don't want it to be that way. That's the only thing.
It's very rare that things happen on SmackDown and I come on the show and I don't know what to say. Like, the one time I can think about this that it happened was the Stories of the Dark Father or something like that with Aleister Black, when he was like reading that book every single week. And I would get on here and I'd be like, guys, I'm sorry, I don't know, like, this isn't like my forte. It's not something that like I comprehend that well where I'm able to like translate it. I mean, of course, obviously, if I like extremely focus and I can like repeat exactly what he said, but I like to understand it, digest it myself, and then kind of spit it out. And I truly couldn't really do it there. I tried, and I was just, man, I'm glad this is over. With this, I'm like, I just don't know what the hell to think. Like, I don't know where he's coming from, what he's talking about, who he's talking to. So I'm just like, I need to see more. So I assume that a lot of people who are listening probably feel the same. They're probably still in that phase where they're like, what the hell's going on? I need to see more. I need to hear more. And then I'll be able to have a little bit more of like an educated opinion on it. But where I stand right now, man, I'm like if you see like a sold out concert, dude, of like a very, very popular band, I'm like row 48 in the very middle of the concert. I'm just like, what the hell's going on here? Like, so that's kind of where I'm at on this. I definitely need to see more to kind of figure out where they're going.
Yeah, that's, man. I mean, I told you how I feel about it, and that's just kind of where I'm going to stick, I guess you could say. I mean, just the way the man's talking. I mean, it just kind of seems like we're going to get more. I mean, of course, we're going to get more out of him, but we're going to get more out of him, I guess you could say. If I kind of put that in quotations, but I don't know, man. I mean, just the way this man speaks, it just puts like that thrill in your body, like what's coming next, what's happening, I guess you could say, So that's where I'm at in all of this.
Definitely need to see more, and I am looking forward to next week on SmackDown, so we can get a little bit more on the go home show, I guess is what you'll call it, for Crown Jewel. But that's when you'll hear from us next. We are done here tonight. That does it for us on the SmackDown review. Luckily, I mean, this was a long episode, damn near an hour here. Just breaking down this episode, and it does feel good. Obviously, last week having to do it by myself, and nothing wrong with doing it by myself, but I at least want to watch the show. If I watch the show, it's no problem at all. But when doing it by yourself and not watching the show, then it's just like I felt like I was in the woods trying to start a fire, and I had like 2 sticks and a leaf. So you got to try to make a lemonade with nothing at all, and that's pretty much what I was doing. But shout out to that that Bleacher Report article that really helped me get through it. Shout out once again, DJ Kuzmo, Grace, Rocky T, and many others who, have given us shout outs and all that good stuff. Shout out to Kanye Twitty for coming on the football function. Hopefully you, if you're listening to this show, you'll go check us out over at Football Function. We drop like 4 episodes a week now, and it used to be 2, so doubled. Definitely good stuff, something I'm really proud of. Our show taking a pretty big step, so definitely would mean a lot if you go check us out over there. But John, any shout outs, plugs, anything to say before we sign off here?
Well, man, I definitely want to give a shout out to the listeners and everything like that. Appreciate y'all for making this part of y'all's week. We truly do appreciate it. And if you're not a Patreon member, man, go ahead and get those ads out of the way. Go ahead and sign up. You definitely get to chat with us in the Discord and everything like that. And like I said, I'm definitely trying to keep up with it a lot more. Like y'all definitely keep my head above this water whenever y'all put y'all's little ideas and thoughts out there. And it kind of like throws me out for a little curveball, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's definitely fun to read through all that. But yeah, definitely want to give Mike a shout out, man. My co-host over here on his football function, Terry, cousin Mike, man. It's all coming together slowly but surely, man. You definitely got your foot, I guess you could say, in the right track of what you got going. And I know you got big pictures for it, but yeah, definitely want to give you a shout out for football function. Definitely check that out on any streaming platform. But yeah, definitely want to cut it out like that.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words as always. Like John said, we do appreciate you guys for making the show part of your weekly routine, and hopefully you'll continue to do that. We don't plan on going anywhere, and hopefully our shows will continue to get better over time, because that's really what we're trying to do here, is always improve. You don't want to get stagnant. You don't want to get complacent. You want to always get better, and that's what the whole podcast, like the whole WWE podcast as a whole, like I truly feel like the best is yet to come. And we got some pretty good stuff coming in store, obviously. We're getting past this Crown Jewel stuff, and then we'll get into Survivor Series season and closer to Royal Rumble season. And, man, this is when it's really fun to be a wrestling fan. But with all that being said, guys, have a damn good rest of your weekend. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.